Today, we're going to talk about something really specific, what untreated ADHD actually does to a man's career, especially in those make-or-break years between 25 and 45. And let's be clear from the start, this has nothing to do with your character or how hard you're trying. It's about a neurological condition, and its impact on your professional life is real, it's documented, and honestly, it can be pretty devastating.
So let me ask you, does this sound familiar? You know you're smart. You've got the ideas. You've got the drive. People even tell you that you have so much potential. But for some reason, you're watching your friends and colleagues climb the ladder while you feel like you're just treading water, trying not to drown. Your resume might be a bit all over the place, and maybe every performance review has that same line, not living up to potential. If that hits close to home, know that you are not alone, and there's a very, very real reason why this is happening.
Let's just jump right into the hard data, because the numbers don't lie. Men with untreated ADHD are about 60% more likely to be fired from a job. And we're not talking about one bad month or a single mistake. This is about a pattern, right? Where symptoms like impulsivity or just having a hard time managing frustration can lead to issues at work that, well, end up getting you terminated.
And that kind of instability, it hits you right in the wallet. Studies have estimated that this is the amount of income a household loses every single year when a man in it has untreated ADHD. Think about that. Over a whole career, that gap turns into hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost earnings, lost savings, lost retirement. It's a huge financial hit. And get this, the World Health Organization found that this is the average number of workdays lost each year just to inefficiency from untreated ADHD. Now, this isn't just about calling in sick. A lot of this is what they call presenteeism. You know, you're physically there at your desk, but your brain is just gone. You can't focus, you can't get organized, and you're just not productive.
So, how does this all actually look in your day-to-day life? Well, especially early in your career, untreated ADHD acts like this invisible anchor. It's just weighing you down, holding you back in ways that you and everybody else mistake for personal flaws. This right here, this captures that inner voice perfectly, doesn't it? This constant struggle just grinds you down, and it leads to this incredible feeling of shame. You start to believe you're the problem, that you're lazy, that you're just not cut out for this, when the reality is you're trying to play the game without the right rulebook for your brain.
And it's a domino effect, really. These aren't just quirky bad habits. They are direct symptoms. Your inbox is a disaster zone, so you miss important emails. You put off doing the boring but essential parts of your job because, well, an ADHD brain is constantly searching for something interesting. It all adds up, and it culminates in that one label that can absolutely kill a career: smart but unreliable.
And look, this isn't just that collection of stories or feelings. These patterns create real, measurable consequences in your career. The data paints an incredibly clear picture of what's going on here.
Okay, just look at this for a second. The difference is staggering. A national survey found that only 38% of men with ADHD are able to hold down a full-time job. Compare that to 67% of guys without ADHD. That's a nearly 30-point gap. That is a massive chunk of the population missing out on stable careers. And this isn't a problem that just stays the same. Oh no, it snowballs. In your 20s, you're job hopping, so you never really build those core skills. Then you hit your 30s, and those skill gaps suddenly become a brick wall stopping you from getting promoted. By the time you're in your late 30s or 40s, you've spent years just trying to compensate by working twice as hard. And that leads straight to burnout. The whole thing can just fall apart. So let's just put it all together in one place. You're more than twice as likely to be unemployed, you're earning about 17% less money, and you're losing the equivalent of 7 full work weeks a year to lost productivity. These aren't just minor differences. These are life-changing disparities, and they are directly tied to untreated ADHD.
Okay, so we've seen the numbers. The impact is undeniable. But why? What's actually causing all this? This is probably the most important part to understand. This is not about a lack of willpower. It's not a flaw in your character. It is, quite simply, about how your brain is wired. The core issue that affects work so much is something called executive dysfunction. The easiest way to think about it is this. Your executive functions are like the CEO of your brain. They're supposed to manage planning, organizing, scheduling, and getting things done. In a brain with ADHD, that CEO is, well, they're not great at their job. It makes it incredibly difficult to manage your time, to organize a project, or to stay focused on anything that isn't super stimulating. And this slide is so important because it's about rewriting that negative script you've probably been telling yourself for years. What everyone, including you, calls laziness is actually a real biological difficulty with starting tasks. What looks like carelessness is often a problem with working memory. Your brain just can't hold on to all the details. And that unreliability, a lot of that comes from something called time blindness, a genuine difficulty feeling the passage of time. It's why deadlines always seem to sneak up on you.
Okay, so we've laid out the problem, and we've talked about the why behind it. Now for the good news, ADHD is one of the most manageable conditions out there. So let's talk about the path forward. What can you actually do to take back control of your career?
Look, this isn't some giant, impossible mountain to climb. It's a series of steps. And step one is always getting a real, professional evaluation. You can't fix a problem if you don't know exactly what it is. From there, you can look at proven treatments, start using practical strategies at work, and, this is a big one, start steering your career toward jobs that actually play to your strengths.
And we're talking about real, concrete things you can do like tomorrow. Use the tech in your pocket. Calendars, timers, apps, they can be your outsourced brain. Breaking huge projects into tiny little pieces makes them way less overwhelming. And asking for simple things at work, like getting instructions in an email instead of just verbally, that's not a weakness. It's a smart strategy to set yourself up to win.
I really want this message to sink in. That potential that people always saw in you, the potential you feel deep down, it never went anywhere. It's just been buried under layers of frustration and shame and burnout from trying to function with an untreated condition. Getting help and using the right strategies, those are the shovels you use to dig it back out. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. The goal isn't to magically fix your brain or force it to be something it's not. The goal is to stop fighting against your own wiring and start working with it. When you get the right diagnosis, the right treatment, and the right strategies, you can build a career that doesn't just tolerate your ADHD, but one that actually thrives because of its strengths. Your past struggles do not have to be your future.